I know there's not a parent in America who doesn't feel the same overwhelming grief that I do. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. Our hearts are broken today.
Welcome back to as we continue our straight talk here. That was an old clip of President Barack Obama, of course, responding to the devastating shootings that took place on December 14th in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The number of young children, 20 of them, and 6 adults murdered by a crazed gunman, Adam Lanza. Well, now someone has created a video game, an online video game, where you as the player of this game can be the can recreate the day Adam Lanza, the one who murdered his mother before he went to the school to shoot all those children and teachers. You can recreate the day that he had. It's one of the most appalling and disgusting things I've ever seen. I know that there are so many people out there who advocate for gun control, which is what the creator of this video game, so-called video game, his name is Ryan Jake Lamburn. He's claiming, saying that this is all about, bringing importance and raising the issue of gun control. There's all sorts of ways you can talk about that, but this certainly is not one of them. Well, I'm joined in our Ottawa studio by Solomon Friedman. He's a criminal lawyer who specializes in the area of firearms. Solomon, thank you very much for being here. I know that you don't have to be a parent, you don't have to be an aunt or an uncle to understand the gut-wrenching day when we all watched that unfold. All of those lives lost. Now this, I don't even think he is a human being. He creates this nonsense, all in the name of gun control. Come on, this is disgusting.
Well, Adrienne, I think there's going to be a temptation here to simply chalk this up to the stupidity of one nitwit who's gone ahead and created this video game in the name of furthering or promoting gun control. But I'll tell you this, in my experience, having been involved in this debate for years now, and getting to understand a little bit about the mentality of many gun control supporters, for most people, when they heard about the Sandy Hook tragedy, it was precisely what you said. It was gut-wrenching and, absolutely horrific. But there are always going to be some people who see an opportunity in that. And that's something that should really shock Canadians, that there are those out there who would exploit tragedy in order to promote their own political agenda. That is not the way business should be conducted.
No, and it's also the visceral reaction everybody has when, of course, you had the Batman Day shooting. All of these mass shootings that take place in the United States, the initial reaction is, well, we must have gun control. But Solomon, this individual, this person who used to be an American citizen and now lives in Australia, this guy's defending it. The victims of Sandy Hook, one of the teachers, the one that threw herself in front of her students to protect them. She's emailing him and tweeting at him saying, how does this help our family? Like, we're still grieving. He's defending his so-called video game. This is unbelievable.
Look, there are always going to be those who hope that by creating this sort of visceral gut reaction, we can move a very important policy issue. Gun control is a very important policy issue away from, the sphere of common sense and evidence and good policy making towards a knee-jerk reaction. And I think that's really what this video game is trying to create. Is it distasteful? Yes, but it's more than just distasteful. It tells you a little bit about how, unfortunately, often both in Canada and in the United States, gun control policy is made. It's a knee-jerk reaction in the wake of tragedy.
He's talking about the so-called creator of this game, Solomon, is talking about him, of course, living in Australia now. There was a mass shooting there in 2001. They made sweeping changes to their country's gun laws. And now he says, quote, guns are no longer a noticeable part of Australian culture. That's what his rationale and suggestion is to Americans.
Well, I think, in fact, the empirical evidence is exactly the opposite. A firearm is a tool. It's a tool that can be used for good or a tool that can be used for evil. Countries such as China, for example, that have extremely restrictive gun control laws, we hear on a regularly, unfortunately too regular basis about mass killings, sometimes involving knives or axes, etc., in schools and kindergartens. If we have a certain pathology of individuals who are going to commit crimes against defenseless children, etc., their access to tools is not going to change their evil intent. And I think, the case of Australia and the United Kingdom, for example, where we haven't seen we may have seen a reduction in gun crime, but we haven't seen a reduction in violent crime. So if all you do is select away from one method to another, what on earth have you actually accomplished?
Yeah, well, not a whole heck of a lot. Solomon, we're going to have to leave it there. I appreciate you joining me. That is Solomon Friedman. He is a lawyer, a criminal lawyer, joining us from our Ottawa studios.